There it is. There it is. Spotify listeners in shambles because they're so confused what's going on right now.
Utter
Jake,
silence.
Jacob holds up a sign that says Dr. Jacob Remmert. That's the audio captioning for those.
There we go. We did it. We did it.
You did. I didn't do anything. Yeah.
You did it 2 years before me, or whatever it was. So I'm finally caught up with Colby. That's the whole point of this episode. Is I'm finally caught up to Colby. I'm finally almost reputable. I just need to get jacked, and then people will actually believe what I have to say now. But we're one step
Spoiler
closer.
alert. They don't. They still don't. Doesn't matter if it's you have the little doctor next to it or pro bodybuilder apparently now too. They don't listen. They said, yeah, well, Ronnie Coleman looks like this. So
Them's the breaks, man. Them's the breaks.
small tangent, but I literally had a conversation like a couple days ago. It's like all these science guys. Some random person at the gym was talking about that. Went on the tangent of like, why would I listen to the science guys when Ronnie Coleman looks like this? I was like, you know what? Fair enough. Go on, do your thing. So why did we do this whole thing? Why did you specifically, since this episode's all about you, why did you do this PhD thing, Jake?
I just wanted to coach, man.
It's
It still makes every time I think about it, that just makes me laugh. That genuinely the whole reason I wanted to do a PhD initially was because I wanted to be an online coach. And I was like, that'll make me stand out. Let's go to school for 10 years.
a long
But
game.
it kind of worked. I mean, it kind of worked. So thank God I actually enjoyed the process though, because I would have been miserable if I did not. But, but yeah, man, we made it. Actually, like almost exactly 10 years to the day here. I think it was sometime in June of 2016 that I actually made the decision that like, okay, I'm gonna go to school and do this, and laid out. I had a whole plan. I was like, I'm gonna do my first 2 years of community college, then I'm gonna go to finish my undergrad at Illinois State because it was kind of the closest, bigger university thing. And then I'm going to go to Florida Atlantic and do my master's. And then I'm going to go out to AUT and do my PhD. That was the plan. We had one small deviation from that, but otherwise we were pretty spot on.
Eric's still crying to this day because you didn't go. He didn't get to hang
Good.
out with you. So
Good.
Good. Oh. Oof.
No, I think I think that would have been an amazing experience, right? Like I would have loved to go out there and do that. Nonetheless, I'm very glad that I stayed, just because like to be able to have been in the same lab for almost 6 years was really cool. Just the amount of time that all of us got to spend together was like that still is like my biggest. It's so corny, but like that's the biggest thing from this whole process was the friends we made along the way, right? But it really is that, right? And it's not just that we have friendships that'll last forever, which of course we do, but like, man, I've learned something from every single person who's come through this lab. I've learned a ton from like a handful of people who've come through and have just formed so many good connections, and like everybody's made me better in different ways, and I'm super grateful for that. And it's just been amazing, and I don't think that would have worked out the same way had I split my time between different. Obviously, I would have still learned things from everyone at AUT and all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to take anything away from that. It's just there is something special to being able to like really be in a place for a long time. So I'm happy with how it worked out, and I didn't have to do the super long flight.
What are you afraid of flying or something?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Not nearly as
And-
bad as I used to be, but still, yeah.
Well, hopefully you fear flying more than you fear the wrath that Eric's about to bring down on you, because I just clipped that whole thing you said and I'm sending it to him right now. So he's gonna get that real soon. And I maybe added a couple of things in there, some aggressive words, some direct attacks at Eric as a person,
Cool.
but
Good.
that's okay. He won't tell the difference.
Good. It's small calves. Tell 'em that.
Hold on, clip it, ship it. Good, that one's on there too. Anything else you'd like to say?
Your calves will never be as big as Zordos is.
Okay, that's we're supposed to keep that in the back pocket if we ever need to bring that one out, because that's how you
Yeah.
get them.
That's the big guns right there.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
Um,
you finished. You did it. Before you start talking more about it, I was very fortunate I was able to actually watch it too. And like I had said to you before this, it was so cool to see you in your element and doing your thing. And like I said, I knew you were good at presenting and showcasing, and obviously because like stuff we do in the podcast, hearing you be at other podcasts, but like in the classroom doing that defense and doing your presentation, like you were, I was literally enthralled. I was like, man, he's so good at just being engaging, at you know explaining things and making very difficult things very simple. So simple people like me could be like, oh, I get it. Because especially when you're talking about some of the stats stuff, I was like, man, I don't know what's going on. But you're like, trust me, I spent 6 months doing this so that I can teach you in 6 minutes, and you did that damn well, which is very hard to do. So it was so cool to be there. So thanks for letting me be on the live stream.
I mean, it meant so much to me to have you there.
Yeah.
And it's such amazing feedback that like that some of that stuff was understandable. The stat stuff was especially, dude, that was like, that felt like a contest prep, dude. Where you got to keep showing up every day. Some days are really frustrating, feels like you're going backwards, but you just got to keep trusting the process, and eventually you get there. And man, it's so weird too, because it felt like none of it was making sense to me for the longest time. And then one day it just sort of clicked into place, and I was just like, oh, it's this, right? And then when I was like, okay, I want to talk through this in the presentation, that's when I realized, oh, it actually didn't make sense back then when I thought it did. Now it actually, once you try to teach it to somebody, that's when you really start to understand something. And so that was, in hindsight, was a fun and satisfying process. In the middle of it, I hated it. But now that we're here, it was cool, and it's such a. I gained so much confidence from that too, right? Of like, oh, I can learn anything, right? If I can learn that stuff, it takes time and effort and all those things, of course. But like, so that was cool, and it was really good to hear that it was like not super. My goal was like, no shade to my mom and dad, but they're not in science, right? So like they're not going to understand any of this stat stuff. So I was like, I just want them to not be lost. They don't have to understand everything, but I want them to be able to follow it. And so that was kind of my guide. And they said that they could, which is, is that completely true? I hope so. I don't know. I hope so. But yeah, so that was probably the most gratifying part of the whole thing, was like getting that kind of feedback about it. And it was just fun to do, man. Like I for whatever weird, I was telling you this before we recorded, like for whatever weird, crazy reason, I now really enjoy doing that sort of thing. Whereas I used to just tremble in fear at the very thought. So it was just, I wasn't nervous. Even the morning of, like, I was not nervous at all. It was weird. I was like really expecting, even like the day before I was fine, but I was like, man, once I like put the suit on and go to the school, I'm going to start feeling it. Like, nah, dude, it felt so good to just like be at peace with it. You know what I mean? It was just, I was like, yeah, I'm not rushed. Like, I'm ready. We're good. And let's just go have fun.
That specific feeling right there, I hope you hold on to that forever, because that's probably one of the biggest takeaways from the PhD as well that you'll have, is where it's like, that's confidence. That's truly confidence. That's truly mastery. That's what being able to, do the things that we want to do in this realm of exercise science, both coaching and teaching and research, is all about. And that's just the biggest confirmation that that's exactly where you're supposed to be, is doing those things, right? And you have very much earned those 3 letters. You very much earned all the opportunities coming your way and all these things. So it's like, I think I say that a lot to you, but maybe even a little bit to me, because sometimes it can be easy down the line to get into that whole imposter syndrome thing, where it's like, oh, I don't know, especially you're gonna get into this new spot. You're like, well, I'm so used to school stuff. I'm so used to always learning, and now like I don't want to call myself a master at this, or I have mastered this, or even a doctor. Like that sounds weird to call me that, right? But you especially, it's, man, you've, like I said, that day, those feelings, that execution, it is the biggest display of like that you are him. You are that's right. So like that's remember that, and just don't forget it 100%. So that's so cool. That's a great feeling. And yeah, you look so confident. As soon as I turned on the live stream, I saw you there. You're just there, like, is that poise. Literally that poise of like, I'm ready. You had like that slight smile. You're still talking to people around there, and you were just focused and in it. And it was so cool to see all that. And I just I don't know. I'm in awe. I'm just thinking about it again. It really was, and I don't mean this to be me fangirling again, but I'm gonna do it. So, and I always will.
I
So
never
yeah,
get
that
tired
was.
of it, bro.
You're like, please, give me some more, sir.
Yeah. It was. Thank you so much. It was a really, it was a really good day, and I was poised until I got emotional immediately, and I was just like, okay, I got to get this together so I can actually talk, and but whatever, it was fine.
I was talking to Eric in the chat before he sent me a message. He's like, "Yo," and I was like, "Of course I would be like I wouldn't miss it here." And then I was like, "Dude, I'm already getting emotional." As soon as I walked in, and as soon as I said that, you started to already tear. And he goes like, "Looks like Jake is too."
Yeah,
And I was like, I also expected that to be
yeah.
honest, because it doesn't really help when before you're ready to go. Zordo says his little introduction, and he just says the nicest things ever to you, and you're like, "God damn it, Mike." Because you can call him Mike now, right? Because you've earned that too.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can.
It's like, God damn, like the way, because if it's coming from him, it's coming from the heart, and it means a lot. And obviously, we both look up to him so much. We always have, we always will. And then also just being in his presence through all those years, especially you, it's just like, damn, it means everything for him to say that. And I know he's probably listening too. So thanks as always, Dr. Zordos.
That's right, Doctor Zordos always.
Yeah, always. You're gonna get a text. No, it's Mike.
Hey
I remember
man,
my first call afterwards. I was like, "Hey, Dr. Zorros." He's like, "Sorry, what was that?" He's like, "Hey, Mike." I was like, "Oh, it was hard to say," but
yeah, I don't know if I could. I don't know, but you're right. I mean, it means to say that it means the world is an understatement, dude. It's just like one of my biggest role models for since as far as I can remember, right? For 12 years. I mean, I can remember further back than that, but whatever. It's like just to have somebody who you've looked up to for so long and still do in so many ways say nice things is just crazy. And then, then to have like multiple people like that do that in the same day is wild. Uh, and like, not just, it's so, I struggle to even put into words, dude. It's like, because you get the like, hey, good job, I'm proud of you, all those things, which is incredible, and like that's enough, right? Like I'm super, I'll take that forever. But then you also get the like, I really respect what you did here, and like we're peers now, and like you're pushing this thing forward, and like stuff like that is just like I don't even know how to really take it in. That's like, all right, let's get into it for a second. Okay, I'll be vulnerable here with you.
let's do it. I'm
Between you
ready.
and me.
All right, no one's listening. It's okay. Everyone,
It's
close your
like,
ears.
yeah. This is like I think the most special part of this whole process for me was those conversations and hearing those things. Because it's like I am proud of myself for doing this thing, 100%, right? And we've talked about that. Both of us struggle to like stop and actually be happy and proud of ourselves for things. And I've been very intentional about like, don't you dare do that with this, okay? If you're gonna be proud of anything, be proud of this one. So like, I'm doing better with that. But then it's those other things from, especially Dr. Z and Dr. Helms. It's like I've always had this thing where I just never feel good enough, right? Like especially compared to the people around me. I'm always some weird combination of insecure and feeling inferior and like jealous and all these stupid, I shouldn't say stupid, but things that do not serve me, right? They're not positive things. And I've been working on this for a really long time. And it's like to hear those words from these people I respect so much. It feels like it like heals something in you, dude. It's like I feel like there's nothing that's like a night and day. You're not gonna heal, quote unquote, something from one day to the next, right? It's always a process. But like, wow, does that go a long way? And that's just incredible. And that is the feeling more than anything else that I will never forget from that day. It's just
Yeah,
I don't know how to
thank you
describe
for.
it.
Yeah, it's hard. It really is because one, it's still so fresh. It's only been a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, something like that.
There's that, and it almost will never fully set in because I don't think there's still times for me like it doesn't, and I'm still like did I actually do that? Well, that's crazy. And
Yeah.
then same thing. I also still face those things of, damn, am I good enough? Where is this imposter syndrome coming from? Or like, should I put myself out there and say these things or do that? It's always a constant journey, and that's the thing, right? There's just different arcs after arcs, and,
Right.
and that's kind of part of it, and it's important to acknowledge that and embrace all those things along the way because that's also how we grow. But I think, like you're saying, it's not just that you're hearing these words, just you're hearing them from people that you respect, but it's also people that respect you, and that's the part that's like, oh man, that's still not clicking because, like you said,
Yeah.
you've earned your seat at the table. You're sitting at that table with everyone, and you're all equals at that level, right? And yes, we always look at people as humans in that regard, but it's in
No, no, no.
this.
We're better than people because we have PhDs.
Oh,
To be clear,
I'm
we
sorry,
are now better than everyone else.
often forget this. Yes, you peasants, please listen up and go fetch me some water or something while we talk. I'm parched. But it's yeah, it's crazy because, like I said, we're equals. Like I said, these are my peers. These people that I'm going to be working with, and you're like, wait, what do you mean? Like these people I looked up to my whole life, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
we're just hanging out, or we're just on a first name basis, or they're always there for you, and they always have been even during your journey. And I think that's the other thing is these people who have seen you through every part of that journey, right? Especially these advisors who've seen you at your best, potentially your worst, somewhere in the middle, every part of that spectrum, but still believe in you, still give you the push or the pull when you need it, and they're good at doing that, and they know how to do that. And I think you had mentioned that in your speech as well, where it's like somehow like you just always knew what I needed, and that's just such a great mentor. And Zordo's the same for me. Helms did the same for me, and then, like that makes all the difference. It really does. Where that's like a superpower. It really feels like it to be able to do that. And now that's you. And now you can do that. You have been doing that, and you will continue to do that at a larger scale, right? So that's really cool.
It's all about the mentors.
Mm,
That's another huge takeaway of the whole grad school journey. Like, not every program is equal. Drastic differences. Seek out the mentor. Like,
yeah.
it's scary and it's expensive and it's a lot to like move far away and do all this kind of stuff. But man, is it worth it?
And I heard you specifically say, and in the end as well, you were like, you told the other undergrads and master students in that classroom that were listening, you're like, guys, there is nothing else like this in any other lab. Anyway, what we have here at FAU in the muscle physiology lab is extremely special. Please cherish it. Please make the most of it. It will fly by and you will miss it and you'll never have that experience again. And I really hope that they take that in, or anyone that's listening takes that sentiment in, not just specifically for the FAU lab, but also just it's so true, but even more so true for the lab at FAU. Because I remember Zordo's telling us that before, me, Joey, and Dan, we started our master's programs there. They're like, hey, listen, it goes by fast. Like, I remember, Zordo's was like, I remember my PhD program. It went by super fast. And you're like, yeah, we all know that. It happens. And then all of a sudden, snap of the finger, it's gone. And you often, it's easy to play down all the good stuff that happens and all the greatness that is created and the environment that was fostered there because that is your norm. But that's not the norm everywhere else, especially in labs in general. And that's the hard part to get once you're in it, but also when you're out of it. You're like, oh, what do you mean like we're not collaborating all the time? What do you mean we don't have, what do you mean we have to put people on a waiting list to help out in the lab? Like now I'm struggling to get people to help out. Like I was like, I wish it's such a again, what happens at the FAU Muscle Lab is it literally feels like magic in a way. It's something extremely special, and again, it's all kudos to what Zordos has been able to create and to what he is as a leader and just everything he does. It makes sense in a way too. So I remember you said that, and I heard that. I'm like, yep. Please listen, because I also said the same thing. I will always continue to say it. I felt it even like when I didn't get to do my PhD there, and I went to do it with Helms, and I remember because Helms did his data collection at the FAU lab. He also acknowledged like, "Wow, what you guys have here is really special." That's also something we said in the chat. He was like, "Can you believe it's been 10 years since I was there?" And I was like, "Small existential crisis. One,
Huh?
two, damn." 10 years. And that's when, I was able to first meet him and first really be engrossed in a lot of the data collection and all of that. And then to when I first went over to AUT, it was like, I want to try to create that as best as I can. And that's really hard to when it's not already there, or things are so different. It's different cultures, it's different environment in terms of the labs. Like people are, some people willing to help, some people aren't. There's exercise, there's like muscle physiology lab, but there's also 3 other labs you're sharing space with. You're like, whoa, there's so many other variables that come into play. And also this is the first like batch of PhD students, so that's kind of tough too. Whereas in FAU, it's like a well-oiled machine, and you're kind of going through it and going through it, and the students go through it from even the undergrads to like, yes, I'm getting involved because I participated in research. Now I'm doing my master's, and now I'm doing my PhD. It's like you don't really see that often, right? So it's what a special place. Yeah, and you got to spend 6 years there total at
Yeah, something like
FAU.
that. I
7,
I got
6.
here January 1st of 2021.
Damn.
Five
Yeah.
five and a
Fire.
half years.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, it's
Like, you love Florida that much? That's crazy. I think that's the craziest part.
but that says like if it's so funny when
Exactly.
when I, I remember when I told my parents that I wanted to go to FAU, like when I was first talking to them about this whole thing. I want to go to school in Florida to go to this thing, and my mom was just like, "What?" Like, I'm just kidding. Which is the correct response, right? Like,
Yes.
I very, very strongly and loudly despised summer my entire life. I don't like the heat. I don't like the humidity, right? And she's like, "You want to live in like it's that all the time?" And I was like, "Yeah, but this Zordos guy, right? So that just is another thing to me that just says how amazing he and the program and the whole lab team and everybody is. That like no regrets for 1 second. You know, um, it's just I'm excited to move out now. But but like if I could have got a tenure track position at FAU, I would have taken it without thinking and stayed here
Mhm.
forever. Like there's you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The environment is just that amazing. There just wasn't a job opening. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But you know, yeah, man. But like that being said, I'm incredibly excited to go to ISU. If anyone from ISU hears this, I love ISU. They're my first choice. Uh, no,
Yeah.
I'm sort of joking, but I am extremely excited to get there. I'm just trying to emphasize just how awesome FAU is. And,
Yeah.
you
It's
know,
yeah. What it, what's one of the things you think you'll miss the most? I know it's a very hard question, but is there anything specific that maybe we haven't already talked about that you feel like is something you're gonna miss, or yeah, like what comes to mind when that comes up?
um, I mean, I think about the lab specifically. Like we've already talked about the people and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff, right? Like that's the number one thing.
Yeah.
But stuff we haven't mentioned, I think the having your own lab building that's separate from other buildings is really nice.
Mm.
Just like it's just so much more convenient to schedule subjects coming in and to do all this stuff and like we just hang out in there all the time,
Yeah.
right? Like um so I think having our own space was just the best. And I just can't say enough how beneficial that was or has been. Um, Florida as a whole, I'm going to miss no state income tax. That's pretty cool. Everything else is so expensive; they get your money anyway.
Yep. Sounds about
Yeah,
right.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it just it's so corny and hard of the cards, but like it really is the people and the friendships, right? Like
Mm.
it's I will miss that very very much. That's going to be really really hard to leave.
Yeah. And through your experiences with all these people and everything that you were able to do there, what was the thing that you feel like you learned about yourself that was either it could either be like the most impactful or the most like enlightening or like one you didn't expect to learn? Like what's something that you're like, damn, when you think back on your PhD journey, like you as a person, like what's that one piece that's gonna kind of carry you through with the rest of your journey coming up?
I think it's like capability. Like
Mm.
I can do it. You know what I mean? Like there was there there was so many times where I was trying to learn something or figure something out or whatever, and there was like I'm like, okay, I'm a resourceful young man. I can figure this out for myself. And then you hit a roadblock, and I'm just like, someone help me with this. And sometimes they'll help, but sometimes it's like, no, try a little harder. You can do it, right? And then sometimes there's multiple recurrences of that with the same issue, but then you figure it out.
Mm.
And I'm just at the other side of it, so grateful that that was the way that it went. Because now I think that I really come to a point where I'm like, I'm not scared to ask for help, but I'm a lot more capable than I used to think that I was. Like I just learned so many skills and just places like there's stuff that you didn't like. I have like some stats textbooks saved on my computer that like I didn't know that existed before, right? So like I found
Nerd.
resources that are helpful. Yeah, right.
Nerd.
Resources that are helpful or whatever, right? Or YouTube channels that teach things and like
Mm-hmm.
just resources you didn't know existed until you talk to somebody and they're like, hey, look at this thing, look at that thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the biggest thing is just like the belief that I actually can do these things. And if I don't know how to do something now, one, that's normal, right? Like nobody knows everything. And that sounds like such an obvious statement. But when you're struggling to figure out what to do and it feels like everybody else knows exactly what they're doing, like it really feels like you're the only one who can't, at least for me, I feel like the only one who doesn't know. So, but like that's just not, it's just straight up not true.
Yeah.
Right. So that's been a really good realization that I'm going to take forward and like just learning some different um, both research skills that'll make studies way better, um, but also like people skills of just like I mean these last 5 or 6 years have been I mean by far the most I've like interacted with other people in a setting where it's like teamwork towards something that actually matters, right? Like when I worked retail, it's like yeah we did teamwork, but not really.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a bad way, but we all if you've worked retail, you know what's up. Um, but yeah, so it's I've just learned a lot more about those sorts of things, and you know, finding out that I really enjoy all those things, and it's sort of you mentioned that earlier too, of just like comfort in the idea that I'm going down the right path. Like those are all very good and important feelings.
Eh,
Taking those.
Correct me if I'm wrong too. When you're on any path or any journey, and like you said, like, you find the comfort, but you have to go, I think, through a lot of discomfort before you find that comfort. So I think that's
Sure.
important to remember. Where you're like you're gonna think you're not good enough. You're gonna think like everyone else knows what they're doing. So you're like, just remember that if wherever you are in your path and journey, and just like you have to keep going. Like, this is literally the only thing you can
Yeah.
do. I know it's such a cliche thing, but you literally just have to keep going, and that's where also I think a good teacher and mentor comes into play. Like Soros does, and I remember like this is his approach to this always sticks with me. Where I remember he told us straight up, he's like, if you guys can't figure something out, think again, try again, do a little bit harder. If not, ask your lab mates. If not, try do it again. Like think even more so before asking me. Like, just go through all these steps and really try and give yourself time and make sure you put in the effort before you just straight up ask me for help. And I think that's a skill that is very rare to find nowadays because we're so caught up in like give me the answer now. And it's that's you're missing out on the whole thing. It's not about the answer. It's about what happens in between. Because like you're saying, like, the struggle of finding like I try it this way, but let me try it a different way. Let me look at it in a different way. I'm clearly not looking at it correctly, so let me get someone else's viewpoint that might help me look in a different way. And then it's like all of those steps along the way is how it sticks within yourself, but also how then you can actually know it and everything. I think that's such a like powerful thing to experience that we just don't get in a lot of places or we're forgetting about because 2026 is immediate instant gratification. Like, give me answer, give me whatever, don't care, that's it, and then you just forget it. And that's where like I think that's the difference also between like just teaching and telling or studying versus remembering, like those kind of differences and all that. So it's again that environment that is there really facilitates that, so it helps a ton. So
I
yeah.
I remember like the first time he told me that, I was like, oh, he's just super busy, and like
Yeah.
this is a good way for him to not be overloaded.
Yep.
And like no disrespect, I was like, that makes sense, right? I would do the same thing. But then after a while, I started to actually understand, like, well, yes, he is super busy, but he would drop everything to help us. Like I have zero doubt in my
Absolutely.
mind about that. It's just he's trying to actually help you learn things
Yeah.
and actually get, for my fantasy nerds out there, journey before destination,
Mm.
right? From the Stormlight Archive. This is that. The destination matters, but the journey matters so much more. How you get there matters so much more. And like in this case, it's exactly what you're saying. Like that's how you develop those skills and the ability to like be resourceful and look for other things. The ability to ask for help when it makes sense to, and when to push harder yourself when that makes sense to, and how to think critically about all this different stuff. Like it's just there's no other way to build that I'm aware of other than to just fight your way through it for a while.
I was just thinking, I'm like trying to think of how else can we put ourselves in situations to go through that. But it's you really can't unless you go through these like larger experiences. I think contest prep is kind of like that as
I
well,
think
where it's
bodybuilding's the closest thing.
yeah, yeah, it's just delayed gratification and journey versus destination. But it's people gonna ask us like, well, Jake, Colby, you guys basically just telling us do a PhD or do bodybuilding to learn and to grow, and that's not true.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
yes, it's true. You're gonna go to hire one of us for prep, and then you're also gonna go learn with Jake and be one of his students. So
there we go.
we're just it all comes down to the cash grab at the end, of course.
Yes. I'm trying to think of
Yeah.
other.
It's
Uh,
well, I think you could still get that, but it might not be as powerful, or it might take like extra steps on the person to try to go through there, right? Because to say like you're at working a regular job, or it's and again, this is no disrespect to regular jobs in quotations. I'm just saying that as a whole, where it's like you don't know something, you're gonna ask the person next the boss or something. You kind of need answers quickly because in certain realms it's about like output output output,
sure.
which again I understand that's a thing. But if you are in that situation, I think it would be wise to put yourselves in other situations where you have to learn. And that's where just like even just picking up certain hobbies or being involved in different groups, or starting conversations with people you maybe wouldn't normally have. And I think just putting yourself out there in some way, and ideally in some difficult way, is where we can start to get this growth. And then I think we're losing that as a whole in in the current year, if you would, yes, where it's like whether it be social media making things difficult or life making life difficult, because that's also very much a thing. We're losing third spaces, we're losing community, like all that stuff. We don't want to really dive too deep into that, but it's I think it just really highlights like we need to be proactive, we need to take action, and we need to respect ourselves in that way, of making ourselves do hard things, right? Because
Yeah.
it's sometimes we don't have a Zordos to push us,
Right.
or some people might not have that, and or we graduate to a place where now like we are the pushers. So who's going to push us? Often ourselves, but that's also very hard, and you have
Sure.
to learn that skill too, right? Or maybe the importance again of environment and surrounding yourself with other people who will push you or will tell you like, hey, you're being an asshole, or get your
Right.
shit together, right? Or whatever it might be. There's other ways to do that, like we're saying, and it's just important that you kind of find it / create it, because it's not really gonna find you, and that's kind of like a realization. I think that's one I've been coming to a lot, where that realization where I'm like, man, was when I'm in my journey, not to make this about me because this is your episode, but like that idea of like trying to figure out what I want to do with stuff. It's I need to just get out there and do more things, and reach out to people and have that confidence, have that Jake confidence. But get out there. I'm a beast. I could do this. Talk to Jake.
I, I think that's so. I love that you brought this up. I think that's so important. The fact that it's not just going to come to you,
Mhm.
and like that's actually what makes it worth it, right?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what makes it meaningful is that you have to put some effort in, and that it's hard. And it's like uh, my coach Ryan Doris talks about this all the time. Calls it desirable difficulty. We have to
Yes.
create. Some people are born into really difficult conditions, and they have to fight through it, and like that builds a lot of skills that somebody like me who grew up soft didn't have those skills, right? So like we have to go out and like make conditions. Fortunately, we're privileged enough that we can constrain how difficult the conditions are, right?
Yeah.
Which is very nice. But it's so like we have to. That's contest prep, right? That's academia. That's even just lifting weights, right? Like you're not going to grow muscle if it's not a hard set. We can't just sit there and expect to get jacked, right? It's not going to happen unless they keep making these new drugs and stuff that peptides and whatever, right?
It's gonna be Yivagu. That's Wegovy backwards. Where I just thought of that, where that's gonna
Perfect.
build you muscle instead.
I
Trademark
love it.
the training arc, by the way. Don't steal that from us, please.
I love it. Perfect.
No.
But yeah, we gotta do hard things, man. And it's important, and I agree with you. I think that's I see less people doing that. Not that I pay super close attention to it, but even like a cursory glance now and then, I'm just like, ugh,
Yeah.
you know.
And
Uh-oh.
it's hard. It can be hard and to see that in other people, but especially to see it in yourself. Because I think it's hard to put into words what I'm trying to say right now. I think we we're just so comfortable with being comfortable, and
Yeah.
especially when we're just struggling to do the basics sometimes, because everyone gets to that point in life, and we're like, dude, I have to figure out shit right now. Like sometimes that's pressure you put on yourself or whatever. Sometimes you're like, I need to get things sorted because like I'm at that point. I can't just be sitting around anymore, right? So when you're faced with that, it can be more difficult to do that, and it be easier to lean into the comfort side of things. So it's like, how can we willingly put ourselves through difficult times if we're already struggling? I think that's where we're seeing be the case nowadays. So like, now that you're a doctor, how do we fix that?
Uh, we gotta make sure all these kids aren't soft anymore. That's what it is. All these soft snowflakes not wanting to try. No, I'm kidding. Uh,
It's
I do.
yeah. Like how do you like what how do we because I think again maybe I'm asking for myself, help me out, doc, but also I think I say that because to prepare yourself in a way too, because now it's weird. You've been in school your whole life, right? Now you're not going to be. That's going to be different. So you're gonna have to be ready for that, and you are ready for that. Again, I'm not like saying you better watch out, youngin, but it can be weird, right? So I guess like what comes to mind if like so in my example, how would you go through that? Like how do you advice?
I don't.
Help me,
That
Jake, please.
that's tough. It's really tough. Um, I wish I had the perfect answer. I definitely don't.
Mm,
I mean, some thought. I think this is not the case for you, obviously, right? But I do think some people genuinely do need to just try harder. Like I do think that exists. Um, Obviously, tons of people have other considerations. There's other stuff going on, whether like financial stuff, mental health stuff, physical health stuff, disability stuff. There's a million reasons to make things difficult, and like that stuff is very valid and absolutely exists. Some people do. This was me for a while, right? Like I just needed to try harder.
yeah, yeah,
Now there's other times when I've like, okay, I've been depressed for 6 months. This isn't a try harder issue, right? This
yeah.
is a I need to go to therapy and do these things.
Mhm.
So I think sometimes it's maybe that also, right? That like, can we identify what's holding somebody in place or what's making them feel like they can't, do whatever they're trying to do? Okay, well let's like really lean into addressing that, which obviously is easier said than done. But I think that shifting the goalposts to like, okay, this thing is an obstacle. We got to try to do something with this. I think that's helpful too. Um, and then, sort of like slowly working your way up. Like this sounds like a silly example, but I really don't think it is. Let's say your goal is to do it because this is a training arc. Let's say your goal is a contest prep or your goal is a graduate degree or whatever. And it just feels so like, man, so overwhelming. I can't even fathom being able to do that. It's so hard. Like literally just find something small that challenges you just a little bit, right? It's like, just like you're not going to go try to deadlift 800 pounds today. You're going to go deadlift 200 pounds. And then next week, 205. And then, eventually you're going to get wherever you get. You can do the same thing with this, right? Like I think about, again, to be on brand, what if you you know, go try to watch Attack on Titan and see if you can follow all the breadcrumbs, right? Can you keep up with some of the foreshadowing and stuff? Go read a fantasy book and see if you can follow what's going on. Challenge yourself a little bit, right? And you're going to find by the end, maybe you did a good job of some things, you missed some things, whatever. But you can slowly kind of build that skill and that self-efficacy of those things.
Mhm.
And even like all the self-determination theory stuff, right? Find some people around you who can help, support you and keep you accountable and help you when you need it. And also hopefully know when to let you kind of stumble a little bit on your own and learn that way. All those things we've talked about. Those are the things that come to mind for me. I don't know if you have other things to add or not, but
No, that's super spot on. And I promise I wasn't a question just for like selfish reasons. It's more because what this
yeah,
that it basically was in my mind. The question was there because, like I said, how can we do these hard things without it being masked behind a PhD or a bodybuilding prep? Because in the PhD, like we learn all that stuff, or at least our mentors tell us, like, hey, you have 3 years to do this whole journey that you're going on. How do you map out 3 years? That kind of can be stressful at first. Like you said, break it down. The first 6 months you spend just kind of reading research and creating that stuff
yeah,
and doing some writing. So it's like you need to like create a menu of things you need to do and then maybe even categorize those as very time consuming, very energy consuming, less time consuming, like and just keep picking away at stuff. Right, make things super tangible. If it's the lifting stuff, okay, I need to just get into the gym 2 to 3 times per week. Start there, make it very in a way. And I think again, we sometimes forget those basics because we've been kind of just practicing them for these 10 years that we're in school. It just masks behind different ways.
yeah,
But when you break it down, that's really what it is. Are those things. So I think it can be just helpful to remind ourselves that we know how to do those things. We just need to make it more clear to us and then to others around us in a way too, right? So I think it's cool to have that experience and to be able to go through that PhD and learn these things. And now we have to kind of learn how to refine it and put it into whatever next for us. So yeah, I think you did a really good job of kind of explaining that and making it easy to take away, regardless of what people are kind of facing. So that was cool. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's so many things in life work under the same rules. I think
Yeah.
there's like these universal, like progressive overload is a universal rule.
Yeah.
Fatigue management is a universal rule, right? Everything works the same way.
Periodization, like it's
Everything.
I it's funny because I used to do a lot of those things before I knew what the words were. I remember like growing up as
Yeah.
a kid, I'd have like favorite shirts that I would only wear on special days. Like that's technically periodization because then when I wear them, I just feel so good. Like I'm like, yeah, that's like I'm saving it for the days that I want to celebrate. So that I'm like, yeah, that's my nice shirt, or
Yeah.
that's my I'm a certain music. I'm saving it for the top set, or I'm saving it for a special occasion, and it makes it that much more effective in quotations, if you would. So
Sure.
it's just like I always liked looking at things that way. Now I'm like, oh, maybe that's why I love this whole training thing. That's why I love all
Yeah.
these other things because like it just can make sense. Like I said, it's all periodization, it's all overload, it's all auto regulation. It's all like that's
All
these
this, yeah.
skills that we learn through training and also through PhD and school, higher education. All these things we can translate into other life stuff. Right. So it's cool. And again, that's why it highlights the importance of putting yourself in situations that you have to learn these skills, whatever it is. And that's where we're trying to focus on is how do we do that? So
Yeah. And I'm sure it's the same, like completely unrelated fields. Maybe it's like an internship or something, right?
yeah,
That you're now surrounded by people who are at a higher level than you, and they're helping to guide you and push you, and all, like obviously the training and those examples come easy to us because that's what we know. But I have zero doubt that you can apply this to everything else. It's just kind of sort of the concept, like Dr. Zordis always says, conceptualize and integrate, right?
yeah,
That we want to, and you can apply it to anything if you do that, right? It's a beautiful thing.
yeah. Man, what a cool journey you've been on. Is there anything else you want to say about this recent journey, or would you like to discuss what the next arc looks like a little bit? Or
Um, yeah, I mean, maybe that does make sense. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I've kind of settled the super big,
yeah,
most meaningful things to me. I mean, the going through like the timeline is not that exciting. I don't think. Like
yeah,
you said, you read a lot of research and then you do a lot of data collection and you sit in front of your computer for a long time and don't sleep and then you're done.
yeah. And because like this journey that you've been on is such a unique one. Like it's been like the 6 years. Like things will always come up, and you be like, man, I didn't realize how like easy this came to me, or the skill that I developed, and it can be years down the line. Like wow, it pops up then. So things will always come up in a way that you can look back on and say, well, thanks participant number 12 in my first research study, because the way that you asked this question made me think of something differently. Right?
Oh,
These all these
100%.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're like,
Like
oh
feedback we get from subjects now,
yes,
it's like, oh well, the next study we're doing that instead, right? Just
yes. It's like all those things that you don't even realize. Like man, that is crucial to who I am now, or how I conduct myself as a researcher, as a coach, as a teacher, as a athlete, all these things. And that's also something that's really cool about the schooling and research specifically is you really have this like intimate time with people. Not only just like your
Yeah.
peers, as in like other researchers and students, but like the participants as well. Because like I don't think participants often realize how much it means to us that they're taking the time and effort to
Yeah.
go through pain, most likely, because that's usually what our studies are, like go through pain and train really hard, and also do so, and like track this, track that, all these things that we ask them, and sometimes they just get like a voucher, but also they
Yeah,
get
not even
the
that.
yeah,
They got
but like
nothing from my study.
yeah, and obviously there's other ways that we give back and that we, we make them feel very comfortable there. We make them, a lot of times we're like, hey, well, I'll help you out with coaching, or even just the discussions we have is helpful for them too.
Totally.
Because a lot of times people are interested in the field of exercise. They come in because they do the study and they just start picking your brain. And like we love those kind of people too, because that's always really fun because you get to share that. But that's such a cool thing to have, because even like I've said before, I think in a different episode, where I have like a lot of my good friends or participants I had for my PhD study, because it's like, wow, these people are so cool. Like
Yeah, you're
they
hanging
are,
out with them a lot. You know?
yes, yeah, it's like 8+ weeks. It's like, you're stuck with me 3 times per week. Here we go. Hey, it's me again, making sure that you're tracking this. Thanks. See you tomorrow. You still in
Yeah.
tomorrow, right? And then
Yeah.
they do your other study, and then your following study, then your friend's study, and then they're always around. And next thing you know, you're eating fried chicken together on a celebration day. Because yeah, so that's also a really cool thing. That's we're super grateful for is the participants. So if you're listening, participate or
Just
reach out. Participate in general in life, but also in research.
that's gonna be I'm gonna have to figure out how to recruit people at the next thing here too. That's gonna be
Yeah.
the next hurdle, because like we figured out how to do it here.
Very
But
well, very well
yeah,
oiled machine there. Yes. Yeah.
it's you know it's just a different environment, right? So we're gonna kind of see what's up.
If you if the funds are there, if you hire me as a recruitment chair, I will do it. I was recruitment chair. Here's my resume for you, doctor, if you would like ever so inclined. Recruitment chair for the powerlifting team, and then also just recruited a lot of participants. Because when I went to New Zealand, it was like, oh, here, how do I do this?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask everyone in my building, but I'm also going to go to all 3 of the campuses. I'm going to go to all the local gyms. I'm going to go this. Eric, who do you know? Okay, put me in touch with them, and you just have to learn, right? So that was it's definitely tough to do all that, but we made it in the end, as everyone always does. You just gotta,
That's
you gotta
honestly, that's the worst part of the entire research process. It's my least favorite part. I hate it.
yeah, because I like it because it's some way, as in like you're out and about and you get to just really discuss your stuff and try to get people invested. But trying to get people invested is the hard part, because
Yeah.
and we get it. Like we a lot of times, like I said, we are asking a lot, and often not giving immediate in return. But it's also like a time for us to be better at explaining what we do, and we get to share like, hey, here's some, and that's sometimes fun too, because maybe we don't get a participant, but we get someone who's like, I didn't realize that's what exercise science research was. I thought it was something rats in a lab, or I didn't realize it was this. Like, you guys are just lifting weights and having fun and writing down numbers and yelling up, 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 up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
I don't hate it. I'm exaggerating, but
no,
it's
it's tough. It's
difficult.
difficult. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. It is.
It's, that could be an interesting episode at some point, like just talking about subjects and like not just recruiting, but like what type of subjects and why we'll never have the elite bodybuilder sample that everybody wants and all that.
Oh my gosh. Even just yeah, whole other episode. I don't want to get into that because I already got thoughts.
Yeah,
So,
I was just thinking about that in the shower the other day. I was like ranting in my head, and I was like, oh, I got to get this out at some point.
that's
But,
it. Put out the line. We'll get the people hooked for the next one. But
we
like,
call foreshadowing.
yes. Um, yeah. So like you were kind of alluding to, it's gonna be hard to do it at your next job or your next place. We're gonna briefly touch upon that. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, we've have we talked about it on here yet?
I don't think so. That's what I was trying to think. Because the last 2 episodes was me just talking about wearing a bikini on stage the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, by the way.
You also did a
listeners.
bodybuilding show, right? I think you
Yeah, that was
also did
after the bikini show.
Yeah.
It was the Sports Illustrated trials. Didn't make it, obviously. First round, they said Lamau. That's what they said, that like his feedback. And please don't come again. So maybe next time.
Uh,
I tried.
you tried. That's all you can do. Yeah, so I've talked about it at least on Instagram, but we're gonna go over to Illinois State University. Got a secured a tenure track professor slash researcher position there that I'm extremely excited for. It's man, it's just such a good fit for the kind of research that I want to do, and their lab is really well equipped already, and we're gonna get a little extra something when I come in there. Usually they give you like startup funds to add to the lab and stuff, right? So we'll get a little extra something, and I'm so stoked, dude. That just anything anything body composition related, anything strength related, we can do there, and it's gonna be like the equipment is awesome for it. They have a great like exercise psychology department that I can collaborate with to do like qualitative surveys and interviews and stuff like that. Like they just there's so many great resources there, and it's back where I did my undergrad. I mentioned that I went to ISU earlier, right? So like I know the faculty, I know the area, and I can't wait for fall. Oh, I can't wait for fall.
He's a pumpkin spice girl. You can just tell the way he said
I
it.
really am. I am the most basic white girl you'll ever meet. Uh, but yeah, so I'm very very excited, and so we'll get there, and we'll teach some classes, we'll do some cool research, we'll have master students, building towards someday having PhD students, hopefully, and so we'll see how all that goes. But it's just exciting, dude. There's just it's weird to when when you start the masters, right? And it's like, okay, we got like 5 or 6 years. We're gonna do so much stuff, and like you do a lot of stuff, but it winds up being like, not as many studies as you might have thought because they all take so long.
Yeah.
And so now to think about, I have an entire career ahead of me, like decades and decades of this. There's a lot of cool stuff we can do, and we've learned so much as a field as a whole. Have learned so much about like what kinds of questions to even ask, how to design studies to look at these things. Like there's just so much advancement that's happened, and still a bunch that needs to be done, without a doubt. Like it's not a perfect field by any means, but it's getting better and better, and it just makes me even that much more excited to put all that into practice and like do some cool stuff, and to have my name be the last one on the paper is pretty cool. And it's just, I don't know, man. I'm very grateful to have had this work out. I genuinely think it's like the perfect fit for me, career wise. Between that and then also still having the not only is it okay, but they actually encourage me to like do this, right? To do podcasts and stuff, to coaching and all this. Like I can have my academic job and do the cool research stuff, but I can do the other levels also. I think about it as like you have the level of like creating new knowledge with research. You have the level of disseminating that knowledge, like teaching and podcasts and that kind of stuff. And then you have the application working one-on-one with clients. And I'm going to get to do all three, like I've gotten to do during grad school, but like that's just going to be my thing, and that's awesome. It's so cool. And then you get the layer of like what my mentors have done for me. Now I get to pay that forward and mentor new people who, like, if I can have 10% of the impact that my mentors have had on me, that's a win, So it's a lot, right? It's going to be I don't know. In some ways it's a big change, and in other ways it's like just doing the exact same thing I've been doing. But I'm excited, man. It's going to be a really, really cool new chapter, and I'll have now it's not just get to the end and get the degree. Now it's like there's promotions along the way, which is kind of cool. I just like, it doesn't really change much functionally, but just like, it's fun to try to push something and have a goal that you're striving towards, right? So like now I have that rather than just a degree. It's like, okay, can I, now I get to, associate professor. Now I get to full professor, and I get tenure, and these things. We'll have all the conferences we can go to and do all that cool stuff, and collaborate with other labs, and I can be on people's committees, and like it's going to be fun.
That Now you're gonna be so good at all that too. Like I said, you've already been doing all that, but now it's like the world is your oyster. That's a saying. I don't often, right? That's a saying.
Right? I don't really like oysters,
I
but
don't know
I'll
what
take
that
it.
means. Yeah, the world is yours. Let's put it like that. Like you are, you have the pen. You're creating it, and you're gonna do so well. It's gonna be cool to see this next arc and the developments that happen, and I'm looking forward to it. Outside of like the nerdy stuff that you're doing, what's some other stuff that you're looking forward to diving into? Whether now that you are able to do whatever you want, like
Like
any,
research stuff, or
no,
what do
I
you
know
mean?
that's nerdy stuff, like reading,
Okay.
writing, gaming, and like
Yeah,
what you
I
what you.
mean, it's all of those, right?
Yeah,
Dude, I promised the guys in the lab that when I graduated, I'd play a video game, and I still haven't played a video game. I gotta, I gotta do it.
I uh, I remember you built the PC. You were thinking about building the PC, and you're like, oh, when I graduate, that'll be my gift. And then you built it. I'm like, nice, some gaming's coming up, and it's like, didn't Dragon Ball Z Sparking just like hang out on your computer for a little bit? You just
Yep,
looked at it, you're like,
yep.
I gotta do the stats stuff instead, I guess.
But I will say the gaming PC makes our move really quick, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's a business investment that also happens to be a fun investment. That's right.
Tax write-off.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, no, so I definitely want to get back. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a gamer since high school, probably.
Mm.
I played a lot of video games then, and then it's just kind of slowly tapered off. So I'm excited to try to make some time for that again. Um, you mentioned like I've wanted literally my entire life I've wanted to write fantasy books, so I really want to make some time for that. And the other big thing is making sure I have time, or like always set aside time just to spend with Kaylee and like
Yeah.
take or girlfriend name reveal, sorry. Uh,
Oh.
but just spend time with her and then just like, and I said this in my defense too, like a PhD is a big sacrifice, right? For the person doing it, but your romantic partner sacrifices a lot also, and she has sacrificed so much to give me the space to do this that I want to repay that, right? So I want to make sure that we are being able to, always spend time together, being able to like take trips and just do cool stuff. And obviously, like during the semesters will be tricky because we're,
Yeah.
I'm teaching and doing all this stuff, right? But taking like we'll have money to take a vacation now and then, and we'll, just that's really important to me too, is to lean into being as good in my career as I can be, of course. But then also like hobbies, stuff that I just really want to do for fun, and really leaning into my relationship because I don't think we're gonna have kids, so like that makes it, if there was kids in the picture too, then like I don't know if I could do all those things,
Yeah.
right? Some of those hobbies are gonna have to fall away, but be selfish. Why not?
Yeah, it's I mean you get to actually live life now. You don't have to you have to worry about school.
Yeah,
And that's kind of one of the main reasons why I asked too, because again that's all we've been doing our whole life is school.
yeah,
And like once you get out of it, like, oh, like yes, we still have all these obligations and everything, and those will be taken care of course. But now it's like I can put some more effort into other things and other people and experiences, and it's such a cool thing to have that, right? And it might even be a little bit of a wrestling and struggle at first. You're like, wait, you're saying I could just go out
yeah,
to a different part of the country? Like, what do you mean? I'm so used to this. I'm so used to that. So
yeah.
it takes some adjusting to that, but that's also part of it, and that'll be make it all that much worth it too. To be able to
Even
like, yeah,
a funny example of that too is I've been sleeping till like 9 or 10, like every day since I graduated, and I normally got up at like 5, between 5 and 7, depending on the day. Usually it was like 5, but some days, it's like on the weekends or whatever, I sleep till 7. And now sleeping in, you know, 3 to 5 hours later or whatever than what I'm used to, it feels so wrong. Like in my gut, I'm just like, oh, this is bad. I
yeah,
missed like, but like I have no reason. I don't have to get up early for anything right now.
yeah.
Why not? Right? So like last night, I was like tired, ready to go to sleep, and then we're like, you know what? Let's watch some of The Boys, and we just watched 2 episodes of The Boys, and it's 1 a.m. and I'm like, just feels so wrong. I should have gone to bed so long ago. But then it's like, why?
Like when was the
Here.
last time you were up at 1 a.m. that didn't
Yeah,
involve sitting in front of a computer stressing out over
yeah.
edits of a paper?
Right. With my alarm set to go off in
And
3 or 4 hours,
yeah,
right? So yeah, and she's just like, dude, why are you stressing out? You don't have to get up early.
yeah,
So that's been helpful too.
yeah.
But yes, it's so weird, man. It's such a weird, all that programming. for those
Hmm.
years, you know.
We got to unlearn some of that, relearn, and then new learn some stuff, which will
Yeah.
be fun. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool. That's so cool. Any anything else you'd like to touch upon, Sir Doctor Jacob? You're knighted, right? You got knighted at your ceremony.
Oh, of course, that's what
Okay,
that's the first
yeah.
thing.
Usually they do that. Okay, I was making sure. Zordos came with the sword. Ding ding.
Yeah.
And you got a complimentary owl to bring home because that's the mascot of
I
FAU.
wish
So,
I didn't get the owl. I wish I could. I do
uh,
actually
I
really
think it's at
love the owl.
graduation. Maybe that's why it's at graduation. Yeah.
I don't know if I have anything else. I mean, I think we hit on
Yeah.
all the big stuff.
Mm.
It's just what a cool journey. Really happy about this entire chapter, and I'm happy about the next chapter. And it's a bittersweet feeling, of course, to be done,
Mhm.
but life goes on. You know,
Yeah.
we gotta get on to the next thing. So, but I am very nice. It's very nice to take a little break here in the middle. For sure.
Absolutely, and you should. And again, that will be hard to do, like you're experiencing, but
Yeah,
that's very much part of it. You know, take that pit stop, fuel up for this next part, and then you'll be good to go. But also, you'll be able to have more pit stops along the way because that's where you're at now, and that's gonna be fun. And yeah, you're again super proud of you and super excited to see all the great things you get up to. And I'm sure everyone else that's listening is as well. We always cheering for you. We got you, and it's cool to see. So yeah, as always, everyone, thank you for listening. Jake, again, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable at spots. Thank you for being you. Thanks for, believing in us and believing in yourself. And you're here. You made it. Doc. Doc. Yeah, so you're all right.
so
We will see you all in the next episode. Fare thee well.
fare thee well.